Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today we are going to work in the sketchbook for Sketchbook Sunday, and I am working in my regular old 6x9 Fabriano Venice book. It's my favorite sketchbook, and I'm beginning with some watercolor pencils. These are the Spectrum Aqua Blend pencils by Spectrum Noir. I really like these pencils. They're not crazy expensive compared to a lot of other brands, and they're just really highly pigmented, and the company says they're light fast. I haven't done tests on that, but I really like them anyway, and that's what I keep next to my desk upstairs where I do my sketching. So basically I am sketching out some succulents, the Christmas cactus and orchids, and that's actually a flower arrangement I received from my mother for Mother's Day. So it's kind of funny, and my family, we give, my mother Mother's Day gifts, and then I give my sister a Mother's Day gift, and my sister gives me a Mother's Day gift, and my mother gives us both a Mother's Day gift. So it's usually plants. It's the great plant exchange every Mother's Day. Unfortunately, I'm the one in the family that did not get blessed with a green thumb. So next year, everybody's plants that they received are still alive, and I just doing the plant replenishment program basically. But I do love flowers, and I try to paint them as soon as I get them, just because you never know what's going to happen. So the orchids I'm actually painting are white, and I didn't want to paint a background, so I'm just very delicately tinting them with some watercolors. And the watercolors I'm using for the half pans are all the Prima Tropical colors, and then I did throw some full pans down the center column of that palette. Basically what happened was I had this set of Yarka watercolors from the 90s, and they were in a very odd palette, and then I got some new Yarka paints, and I decided that some of these were doubles, and I just took those half pans out and I put them in my Prima palettes down the center channel. So with the Prima palettes, they're kind of like they're specialty mixes, almost like fashion colors or designer colors for certain themes. And so I'll look at a set and see, okay, what's missing, and that's the colors that I put down the center channel. And then what it did was it made like all the sets a little bit more useful. So there's a little tip for you if you need a little extra storage. Maybe you bought some half pans or full pans on their own, and you didn't have a palette for them to go into. Popping them in that center channel of the Prima palettes are perfect. Prima palettes are perfect for that. And the reason for this is because many watercolor palettes do not have enough space in that center channel to fit another row, but the Prima ones do. So that's really nice about that. I think the Jane Davenport ones have a little extra space in the middle that you can do that too as well. But like the Schminke tins are a little too narrow, and I don't have too many other ones to compare with, but that's kind of a nice feature. Plus, the Prima paints are so inexpensive that you can often get a full set of like the tropicals or classics or decadent pies for like the same price that you would pay for just an empty tin. So there you go. I am just basically slapping down color and dropping in, like if I feel it's too green, dropping in some yellow or some darker green, and just kind of, making the colors look a little interesting. I'm using my magenta and also a little bit of some purple, a mixed purple there, to just kind of give my little buds on the Christmas cactus. At least that's what we call them, Christmas cactuses. I don't know if that's the right name. Just to kind of pop them out a little bit. And I just did kind of two little comma strokes for the center part of the orchids, because I wanted to keep it very loose and light. I have to say that with this painting, like with many Sketchbook Sunday paintings, things go a little off, and I end up correcting. I'll get frustrated. It might not come out like how I envisioned in my mind, but I think that's why sketchbook practice is important, because your sketchbook practice is all about the process. It's not about the product. It doesn't matter how this looks when I'm done. It matters that I am practicing and that I'm trying new things, because I think a lot of the time when you are painting, you are so you're so focused on the outcome of how your painting's going to turn out, and you're not necessarily thinking about the process and enjoying what you're working on in the moment. I did some splattering on this page and forgot to turn the camera back on, so sorry about that, but it was, you've seen me splatter a million pages before, so that's what I did there. And now I'm just glazing on some more shadows. Now, at this point, I was like, I'm really not happy with it. I feel like I need to explore the orchid on its own, and so I just kind of turned my sketchbook over and worked on the opposite page. So when I'm working in my sketchbook, I actually don't paint on both sides of every page. I'll paint on the main side, and then I use the opposite side as kind of like the facing side is just kind of practice area. That way, if I end up like when I'm done this sketchbook and I decide, oh, it'd be cool to frame all these and have a cool collection of this year's sketchbook, then I can, and I won't have to decide between two paintings that are on reverse sides of each other. So that's what I do. If that might be something you'd be considering, because that way, if you're worried that you're going to paint a masterpiece in your sketchbook and then you're going to have something on the back side, you don't have to worry about that, because, you won't have anything good on the back side. You'll just have, just little squiggles and swatches and practice things like I have here. So, something to consider. So I was basically just trying, dripping colors into other colors and, just trying to figure out ways to make the orchid a little bit more what I have envisioned in my mind's eye. I do find that personally I like to paint large flowers up larger so I can get in on the petals and put some more details or veining or things like that. These white orchids that I was painting didn't have any veining, so I was just kind of like fudging it basically, because I have had orchids in the past that were like kind of lightly yellow petaled and had purple veining on it. So I kind of wanted some of that detail, because the white orchid against white paper just didn't have the contrast that I wanted. So I was just playing with that as well. I think that when you're working your sketchbook, you really should just experiment. I've grabbed some colored pencils and I'm just trying to sharpen things up because it's kind of a hot mess right now. But I don't really want to censor my sketchbook or censor the videos I do for Sketchbook Sunday, because I think it's important for you to see that not everything that an artist puts out there on Instagram or YouTube or their blogs or websites is everything that they do. No, it's not. We all have these practice pieces, these process pieces. It's like you don't wake up and roll out of bed and look perfect. You do your hair and you do your makeup and you do that stuff before you show your face to the world. That's kind of what we do a lot as artists, I think. And I think it's important, especially since I'm an art teacher, for you to see that it doesn't start off that way. But behind every painting, you've got hours of practice and dozens of paintings that didn't work out that well. And I think it's important for everyone to realize that, so they're not so hard on themselves, so that they, understand that there's a process to it. There's a learning curve. You're, not going to go to one paint party and be Picasso the next day. You've got to practice and put the work in. And it's okay if it's a hot mess, because everybody makes those hot mess paintings. Even after you've been painting for years, you're still going to end up with some messy paintings. But that's fine, because you've got to take risks. If you don't take risks and try new things with your art, you will not grow and you'll be stale and stagnant and you're not going to enjoy it. So you have to risk ruining a painting or ruining a sketch, and your sketchbook is the perfect place to do that, because you can close it up when you're done and nobody has to see it. I decided I wanted to play with the idea of veining, so I just grabbed a kind of a dark purpley colored color pencil and threw some in just to see if I would like that effect. Turns out I really did like the effect, but if I was concerned with ruining a painting or keeping something perfect, then I wouldn't have done half the things I did to this picture. So I guess the moral of this video is to practice, have fun, and take risks in your art, because there's no big consequence, right? You might ruin a piece of paper, but it's only a piece of paper in your sketchbook. Please don't let that bother you or keep you from creating something awesome. I want to thank you so much for watching today. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed these Sketchbook Sunday videos, and until next time, happy crafting!